This guy is my
superior atrium.
comes off of my aorta, my brachiocephalic artery. This big one's my aorta. This is my brachiocephalic artery. Okay? My vena cava are not really good back here. My vena cava are right here. These two chambers right here, they're not good on this heart. Best I have, though. My vena cava, my superior and my inferior vena cava, are going to come in and empty into my right auricle, okay? Okay? So they're going to be back here in the back by where my right auricle is going to be, okay?
Okay, so that's right auricle,
this is right auricle, aorta, brachiocephalic, left auricle. Preservatives.
And then you said the thing is...
These are my superior and inferior vena cava. These are the openings for my superior and vena cava. Now, what's happening here, I'm going to empty into my right auricle, right atrium, okay? Now, there's no pulmonary veins are hard to see anyway, okay? They're hard to see anyway, so that's not one that would typically be asked anyway. But they would be here, but the way this heart was prepared, there's a big hole there. So we know that they'd be going there, but they're not here, okay? All right, so that's pretty much, okay, all these little guys here. What are all these little guys?
Coronary vessels.
Those are all coronary vessels. Okay, those are all of my coronary vessels. So those are my big ones. The smooth outer part of my heart is the... What's my smooth outer layer of my heart?
Visceral?
No.
Epicardium.
And my epicardium. What's all this yellow stuff?
Adipose.
Adipose. Now what I don't have is I don't have any on this side.
Those are ugly hearts.
I don't have any pericardium. Remember, the pericardium is the sac around the heart, the thin membrane that y'all can see on your cat. Y'all know what the pericardium is. I'm not going to make a guess on that. That seems like it's part of the covering of fat, so I'm not even going to hazard a guess on that one, okay? But I mean, y'all know the big ones. You know your right auricle, you know your left auricle, you know the brachiocephalic, you know the aorta, okay? You know the coronary vessels, the apex. You know the longitudinal. This is the longitudinal sulcus. The transverse sulcus is the one that goes along back in here. Okay? Back in here on this way. Longitudinal goes straight down, kind of at an angle this way, where the big, large coronary vessels are going to be. Okay? Those are the big ones. Okay? Things like your vena cava are very small, and the pulmonary veins are also very small. Okay? You cannot see those very well.
Where's the ligamentum arteriosum?
That is, you can't see it on this one. Ligamentum arteriosum is going to be somewhere up in here. Okay? Now, this is the pulmonary artery, okay? So I'm hitting the big ones, okay? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm hitting the big ones.
The ones on the tip.
I think Scott says understood, so I'm hitting the big ones, all right? All right, so that's the outside of the heart. Okay, so we move on to the inside of the heart. I can see a lot more on here, okay? So if we look here on the inside of the heart, okay, the meat of the heart, what layer is that?
Myocardium.
So no, the meat of the heart, the muscular layer of the heart is the myocardium. If I ask you for the layer of the heart, I will say identify the layer of the heart. When you see layer, I don't know what. No, this is what I tell my class. So don't go by what I'm telling my class. But what I'm telling my class is if it's a layer, I will say identify the layer. And if it's a layer, you know epi, myo, or endocardium. So this guy right here, the smooth inner layer of my heart, is the endocardium. If I say space, I'm wanting a chamber. Because I could put a pin here, and you could raise your hand and say, do you want the endocardium or do you want the left ventricle? If I want you to name a chamber, I will say identify the space. Okay? The space. That's a chamber. Okay? So start with the chambers here. I can see all of my chambers pretty well. My left atrium, not so well. But my left atrium is up here. Okay, it's been removed. That's the problem, is my left atrium's been removed here. But okay, so over here I can see this chamber here. This is my right atrium. Okay, down here this is my right ventricle. Okay, over here I don't see my atrium very well because it's been removed, but what is this? This is my left ventricle. Okay. Now, what valve, I'm not going to say identify the valve. I won't give that away. Okay, that's obvious. If I pin it in this little flap, what valve is that? That's my tricuspid valve, so it'll just be a pin in there. It's on that, and you would put tricuspid valve. Over on the left side of the heart, this is my bicuspid or mitral valve. Bicuspid or mitral is correct. Okay? Now, how do you know the left side from the right side of the heart? The myocardium on the inside, the myocardium on the left side is thicker. So So if I put the pin here and say identify the chamber, you'll look at this layer, say it's bigger, that's my left ventricle. If I pin this chamber over here, notice there's a thinner chamber, and so that's going to be a right ventricle. Okay?
All the hearts aren't cut the same way, are they?
Not all the same. This one is not one of the better ones, as I'm finding out. What I can't see is I can't see that left atrium on this one.
I have a question.
So
Sorry.
for the one on the, the ones on the test will have them kind of like the other ones that we had. I had to leave some of those up there because obviously those are going to be ones that are going to be pinned for the test. Okay?
So these two whole spaces are the ventricles?
These are my ventricles, right ventricle, left ventricle.
All these are the eight.
No, this is my left ventricle.
Oh,
So
okay,
the other
okay.
half of the heart. My heart split. My heart is split. My
working
left
right back.
atrium is gone. My right atrium
So it's up
is
here.
way up in here, kind of.
The aortic
Yeah.
valve
So this
will
is
be
the
on
right one here, right?
Oh, geez, that's another one that's not good, huh?
This is the right one here.
It's the right article. I need to try to find me another heart. I'll get another heart and point out some of those things here in a second, the ones that I can't see. I'll try to get one of the better hearts upstairs, so I'll go look. All right, so let's continue on. We have the valves. We can see the tricast. Huh? The ones that have the little pins in it, we have to take the pins out because we're pinning them for the test, and they can't stay in the bucket, so sorry. All right, now, so here's my bicuspid valve. What are these things here? Those are my chordae tendineae, and my chordae tendineae attached down here to my papillary muscle. But now notice these are not attached to chordae tendineae, so what do I call these guys down here?
Those
are trabeculae, and this stuff down here is trabeculae too. To tell the difference, papillary muscle is connected to my chordae tendineae, which is connected to my valve. Trabeculae just run and aren't connected to anything except the other interior of the heart wall. These big guys right here, papillary muscle right there. Papillary muscle are going to have my chordae tendineae directly attached to them right there. Papillary muscle here, papillary muscle here. These are trabeculae. That's pretty much what's this.
septum.
Interventricular septum. Okay. If there happens to be just a pin stuck here and it doesn't say identify the layer, that should just say I'm looking for that structure. Makes sense? If there's just a pin and there's no kind of direction to lead you in, I want the structure.
Not the myocardium.
Not the myocardium. Myocardium, I will say identify the layer. Chamber, I will say, ventricle atrium, I will say identify the space or identify the chamber. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay?
Ligamentum.
Can't see it on here, and that's just more for, I kind of pointed out that to you where it was on the heart. Again, that's just more for FYI.
Pericardium. We don't have. Ductus arteriosus. We need the fetal
That's
one.
the fetal, that's in the baby heart. Okay? That ductus arteriosus is in the baby heart, fetal hearts, which I don't have access to.
Coronary ostium.
Coronary ostia are little tiny openings. These little tiny
the
holes
that
in
little
the
hole,
heart.
right?
This little hole right there is one. Any of these little openings right there are coronary ostia. Ostia are just generic openings in the heart.
And the coronary
There's
vessels
one there.
are on the outside.
Coronary vessels are on the outside. Okay. So I've hit the big ones for you. Okay? Aortic valve I don't have. I do need to get a heart that's got a good aortic valve. I will do that.
But that would be like right in the
On the right.
Yeah, there might be some hearts in here. Let me see if I